What's going on, guys and girls? It's GhostRobo, and today we're talking about how I almost died. But I want you to stay till the end of the video, please, because the important part to me isn't the story. It's interesting, yes, but I'm fine. That's not really the important part. The important part is after and what I took away from it and what I want to share with you. So let's get right into it. A couple weeks ago, well, I guess first, you need to know that I get very tired easily when driving. I'm sure you can see where this is heading, and my sleep has been not the greatest lately. So a couple weeks ago, I was driving down to visit a friend in Indianapolis, and we hung out, and I was driving home. It was probably about 2 in the morning, and it's a 2-hour drive back from Indy. And I felt fine. I was like wide awake. I had snacks. I was like totally good. And my camera died. What's the irony in a video about almost dying? The camera dies right when I get into it. Anyhow, a 2-hour drive, it's 2 in the morning. I'm driving back, I have snacks, I have water, I feel good, I feel fine. Podcasts, the works. I get pulled over by a police officer almost immediately, which is so weird to me because I've never gotten a traffic ticket in my life. I've never had any sort of violation. I've never been in an accident. Lo and behold, I didn't do anything wrong. He was pulling me over for a headlight that was out. Got that fixed, don't worry. I don't know, I guess it just started off a little weird. And then I was driving and things were fine. I was actually listening to the H3 podcast. It was a really interesting one. Who were they talking to? It was the guy who does Minefield. That's who it was. I'm blanking on his name, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, it's not important. Driving, and I started to like get a little tired, but I was like, this is fine. I'm used to this. Driving always makes me sleepy. And then I was probably about 3/4 of the way home. Nobody's on the roads. It's straight highway. Nobody's on the roads. You know when you're exhausted and it kind of just is like an instant thing? It's not like, oh, you're tired and you're yawning and you start getting sleepy and you rub your eyes. No, like this was like, okay, 0 to not hero real fast. And I had the podcast on loud. I had been eating and drinking, so like I thought it was fine, water. And out of nowhere, I started to like fall asleep, and I was like, this is bad. I should probably pull over. And I rolled the windows down. I was like, I have to pull over. Like this is not good. Next thing I knew, I must have fallen asleep again, because next thing I knew, I woke up shocked and my tires were screeching, and that was a horrible, horrible sound to wake up to, because it meant that my car was completely spinning out. Going 80 miles an hour on a major highway, and I'm spinning now. This is really a weird moment because I wasn't scared in the instant. It didn't feel frightening. I was just like, okay, I have to figure this out right now, because my fear was the car was going to tip. I wasn't even aware that no one was around me at the time. Thank God they weren't. Probably wouldn't be making this video, wouldn't be able to make this video if there were other cars on the road. But my car is spinning, and again, my biggest fear is I got to get this right so that I do not tip. Thank God the highway I was on had a grass median instead of a physical barrier. That would have been horrible, because again, I'm going 80, so I cannot stop this super quick. So it was one of those medians that is like grass down on this side, and then it flattens out, and then grass back up to oncoming traffic. And I'm spinning. I start to regain control of the car, but I'm also trying to slow down from like 80 to 0 super fast. This is all happening in a matter of like microseconds. I go down the grass, and I'm still rotating, and I start popping up towards oncoming traffic. At that point, I'm like starting to get worried. I'm not aware that there's no cars on the road. I look over. Thankfully, nothing is anywhere near coming. I can see lights way off in the distance, but nowhere close. And I managed to gain control after a whole lot of bumps and shakes. And I stop with my car like this, heading up towards oncoming traffic. So I managed to stop still in the grass, but again, there were so many lucky moments here, right? It was one of those things where perfect storm of being tired, getting bad sleep, it being late, it being like one of those like zone out, just straight drives, nobody else on the road, the podcast being interesting, but maybe in some way like soothing, I don't know. And I just thank freaking the universe that everything lucked out the way it did. Nobody on the road, car didn't flip, grass, big median, and I was able to wake up instantly with those screeching tires. And after it happened, I was like, holy crap, I almost just could have flipped, died, whatever. It didn't like hit me in that way. I wasn't like, oh my God, I didn't break down crying. I was startled the heck awake. I sure as heck drove home very straight and fine. The first takeaway is please don't drive if you are under any influence or if you are overtired. I've made a pact to myself that if I'm tired, just not worth it. Stay the night. Don't go in the first place. Pull over. Go chill at a gas station for a half hour and nap. Whatever you got to do. Man, not worth it. So here is the important part of this video. Set all that aside. I'm totally fine. It was weeks ago. I'm all good. I learned my lesson. No more late drives. And thank God, I didn't hurt myself or hurt somebody else. That would have been worse. But for right now, let's set that aside. The focus here, and it's something that was a big part of my life before this happened, and I've just doubled down on it since. And that is to treat your days, your situations, your interactions with others with the utmost care, the utmost love and kindness, the utmost importance, and the utmost compassion. Because you truly never know what's going to happen. On the extreme side of things, if I died that night, my family would have had no clue what happened. No clue. I didn't tell them like, hey, I'm driving back late from a friend's house. They would have been clueless. There would have been no other cars. What the heck happened? It would have been a mystery that laid waste to my family. So on the extreme end, yes, treat your life and those around you with the back of your head knowing that at any point it could be over. But I feel like if you just focus on the extreme end of things, it's going to get lost in the daily shuffle. Because for the most part, we know we're not going to die. We're not going to just disappear. We're not going to just have something horrible happen. But regardless, I think that the philosophy is still so important and is so beneficial to creating a happier, better life and happier, closer relationships. So don't let somebody leave when there's a huge upset or you're at odds. Don't hang up the phone after yelling at somebody. Don't hold grudges and refuse to communicate because you never know. And even if you feel like you do know, there's no way to be sure. And how awful would it be? And I'm not saying you should be depressed and miserable and worried and paranoid that every time someone goes somewhere, that could be it. But I think that the back of the mind, just overall thought process, is really a valuable one to hold. I try my very best to make sure I always hug the people I care about goodbye, tell them I love them. I try to always make sure I apologize if there's something to apologize for before I hang up the phone. I try to make sure that if there's somebody that wronged me, or there's somebody that screwed me over, or there's somebody that upset me, and they are trying to communicate or they're trying to work on things, give them that decency, give them that common courtesy, have that communication. It got dark super fast, so I had to add a big light. But look, I know there's extenuating circumstances. I know there's situations with such intensities that it seems impossible to find a positive outcome. It seems impossible to not just walk out of there or leave without saying a word or hang up the phone. But even in those worst case scenarios, I implore you to give it your all, to give it your very best, because even if the other person can't, and frankly, they probably won't be able to. Most people don't think like this. Most people don't have the awareness. They're so caught up in their feelings and emotions and upset, they can't. But if you can, then you approach that situation, that interaction with love, kindness, decency, communication, and at least you know you walk out of that situation, physically or metaphorically, with no regrets, or at least as little as possible. Life is short. Life is beautiful. Grab onto it and go. Don't leave things unsaid. Don't wait till later to correct. There's going to be flare-ups. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be clashes. But do your darndest to go and write that as quick as you can. Go and tell them how much you care, why you were upset, what went wrong. I know you care about these people, and they care about you. Stuff just happens. But don't wait. Don't wait around. One clarification. Look, I know there's people out there that have wronged you, screwed you, hurt you. I have people like that too. I recently have people that have wronged me, screwed me illegally. But when I say don't leave things unsaid, I don't mean go out of your way to tell them how they wronged you and how they suck. After this all happened on the highway, I spin out, I almost died. My thought wasn't, hey, I'm going to think about all the people that wronged me and how I'm going to go and tell them off. That does nobody any good. Nobody any good. But what does do good is communication. If there is something that you feel stressed about, worried about, it's on your mind, talk to that person, communicate, reach out. Even if it's awkward and uncomfortable, man, you never know if that person might not be there for another chance to have that communication. And how would you feel if you waited, you buried it, and then it was never resolved? To me, that would be the worst. To me, that would be the absolute worst. And it would pain me to know that I didn't give it my best when I had a chance. And so I think, to wrap up, it's just so important to treat each moment with the importance that it deserves, and to treat the people in your lives with the love and the compassion and the kindness they deserve, and to try and approach things from a mind frame of, I'm going to make sure that no matter what, I walk away from this knowing I gave it my best and letting these people know that I care. Like I said, I never hang up the phone without saying I love you. I never leave without a hug. I never dodge, avoid, run away if things are wrong, if things are tense, if there is a clash. Some people need time to calm down. That's fine. I'm not saying go and berate them. Don't hold grudges. Don't wait. You never know. Thank God I'm here. Thank God you're here. Make the most of it, and give that decency, that common courtesy, that kind of compassion and kindness to the people in your life, especially those that you really care about. And don't wait around and think that you can fix it later, because probably you can, but maybe you can't. And there's not enough time to waste. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. If you stayed to the end of the video, much appreciated. Really, really do appreciate that a lot. I'm totally fine. I'm all good. No more late driving. And, we're just going to do our best to make our days as great as we can, make our days count, make our interactions count, and try to spread that positivity, that goodness, that love, that compassion, that kindness. Even if the world around us looks like it doesn't want it, it's not playing along, it's not going to be cooperative, still give your best effort. Still give your best effort and walk out of those situations, wherever you're walking, knowing that you did your 100. Thank you so much for watching. Fantastic day. I love you all. Talk to you soon. Until that time, drink some chocolate. Thanks again. We will see you all later.